Isiah Factor Uncensored starts now. Welcome and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. We begin with the changes to immigration enforcement in Minnesota. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, has announced 700 immigration officers will be leaving immediately. This comes after a lot of controversy there. We've seen the massive ICE presence there on television, live, and all the mayhem. Here's what Homan had to say today.
My goal with the support of President Trump is to achieve a complete drawdown and end this surge as soon as we can. But that is largely contingent upon the end of the illegal and threatening activities against ICE and its federal partners that we're seeing in the community.
Now, state and local officials have disputed those claims you just heard there, pointing out that most protesters are law-abiding participants. Governor Tim Walz called the drawdown a step in the right direction, but he's still demanding an independent investigation of the shooting deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Joining us to talk about it tonight, CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith, conservative politician Carmen Maria Montiel, and political analyst Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld. So is an adult in charge now, Tom? Not Tom. What's your name? What's your name? Tom.
I'm not Tom Homan. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. But I think that a maturing, in the process of maturing adult is in charge now, because Tom Homan came in with a lot of bravado and braggadocio when Trump first got back into the White House. Is he reflecting the administration because he was around with President Obama as well? He could be. He could be like a kind of like a chameleon, just trying to do what his boss says to do. But the tempers need to calm down. And I like his rhetoric. Unfortunately, I think he kind of seemed defeated a little bit when I was watching the press conference, but there needs to be action. ICE came in a little too aggressively, as we saw with these deaths, and nobody really has a problem with you getting the worst of the worst out. But people have a problem with you dragging American citizens out of their homes in cold weather and in almost your pajamas, and then, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. So if they look at the criminals that are here undocumented, they won't have a problem. But when you harass American citizens, when you try to infringe on their First Amendment rights, their Second Amendment rights, people aren't going to go for it. And luckily, they're starting to see that. And so hopefully there'll be no violence anymore. All right, Carmen, your thoughts? Your thoughts about Tom Homan?
What he said was that they finally have agreed for the local law enforcement in different counties to participate with ICE. Remember that the federals were deployed, the border agents were deployed in Minnesota because the local law enforcement organizations were not helping ICE, were really not giving them support. And that's why that happened. As soon as it was negotiated that, and remember that Governor Walz had a lengthy conversation with President Trump, and so there is an agreement. And once there is an agreement, there is no need for the federal agents to be there. And like he said, right now it's 700, and their plan is to lower it down all the way to 2,000. So it's right now it'll be like 2,300 with the withdrawing of 700, but their goal is to lower it to 2,000. So it looks like things are working in the right direction.
All right, Dietrich, your thoughts about it?
I think this was inevitable, especially, even today when we saw one of the federal attorneys removed from Minneapolis for apologizing to a federal judge, basically saying this job sucks. I don't have the resources to do this effectively or legally or compliantly. And when this administration leaves, if they don't give me a pardon, I'm going to be liable. And that, I think a lot of federal people feel like they were overwhelmed. And so having someone like Tom with actual law enforcement experience who understands federal level activities. We saw with Secretary Noem trying to buy a plane. I appreciate that the government has $38 trillion of debt. You can't borrow against that and just write it like you would as a private citizen. But when you don't have that federal experience to understand acquisition regulations, when you don't have federal experience to understand some people's training is not the same as other people's training just because they have the same badge. And so I don't disagree that a lot of the impetus for the surge might have been lack of cooperation from local law enforcement, but a lot of that might have been due to poor communication. If you tell
But did
local
the Trump administration expect this because they mainly targeted Democratic cities, cities that are led by Democrats?
I don't know that the administration thought there would be this much pushback, and I especially think that when you refer to people, and we have a hyper-partisan environment with a lot of derogatory and inflammatory language where you call people snowflakes, you don't expect those snowflakes to do anything other than melt once you put the heat on them. But once you start having organized protests, when you have people starting to show up with firearms, and so you have a disunified message, you can't say to a Second Amendment defender who elected you, stop carrying your guns out in public. Wait a second now. That seems like a authoritarian
But
government.
guys, there's still blood on the streets of Minneapolis. Can all be forgiven? Can they just start business as usual now?
I don't. Forgiven is a strong word. I think you can forgive, but you shouldn't forget. You know what I mean? We shouldn't forget how American citizens were treated in this country. You know, a lot of people warned people that this would happen in the second Trump administration. He would kind of, you know, put the military on the streets. He would take away your rights. And a lot of people thought that Democrats were just overreacting, but a lot of people are now saying, like, look, they were telling the truth. These things that are happening aren't normal. So we shouldn't forget. We should always forgive, but never forget, because something like this can happen again.
Carmen, let's get you back in.
Well, let me tell you, what happened is we should not forget how this started. It started because the major fraud that was discovered in Minnesota about the daycares and the health care facility, and this, that's how this all started. There were billions of dollars stolen in fraud right
and you're
there.
talking about the Somali community, which had already been under investigation, though. It's not like they
started right there.
But I'm saying it's not like it just started, and people are saying it was ignored, but they were investigating it.
But nobody talk about anymore about the fraud. When this whole thing, and you know, the
when you have bloodshed in the streets and people are being gunned down, that will take a back seat, though, Carmen. You know that, though, right?
I don't think it was paid for. Nobody. I mean, they were organized, but all real protests were organized. The March on Washington was organized. The march from to Selma to Montgomery was organized back in the 60s. You don't just.
But organized by the Socialist Party.
But you don't.
That's what they're.
But you don't have. But my thing is, you don't have to pay me to protest for my rights. Right. If I think you're violating my rights,
there were some organized groups that, you know, they were out there. They were not the average citizen. They were brought in.
Organized and paid and brought in.
No, I mean, you got anything? I mean, come on.
I mean,
you're the PhD here.
I mean, the tricky aspect is both groups are bringing outsiders into a community, and of course, typical conservative movement would lean towards states' rights, but their federal fraud draws them in. So at the end of the day, I think Homan appreciates that there shouldn't have been these deaths, because probably a lot of these responses were a little bit hyper for the actual need. When you talk about policy and you say these agents should not have gotten in front of, for example, that woman's car, it's hard to step back from that and say you violated policy, but you're okay. That's not how law enforcement works. Same thing with masks.
Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor. Still ahead tonight, an H-Town native actress heads to Hollywood, and she's making us proud. But first, an IVF mix-up. A white couple is filing a lawsuit after claiming they brought home the wrong black baby. We can't make it up. It's The Factor. We can't make All righty, welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Time for hot topics tonight. First up, a fertility mix-up in Florida. A baby looks nothing like her parents because she is not genetically their child. According to the couple, they realized a mistake after their baby girl was born a different race in December. It was confirmed by DNA testing the child may be South Asian, and they are now suing IVF Life Incorporated, the company that says they're cooperating for implanting the wrong embryo. Let's roll it.
So, Lenise, what do the parents in this case, what do they want from the clinic and, of course, the judge?
So the parents want the clinic to find out who are the genetic parents of this child. The birth mom is the legal mom right now because she gave birth to this child and there was not any type of gestational agreement or surrogacy agreement. So they want to know, hey, who are the genetic parents of this child? And they want the court to help them figure that out by ordering the clinic to find that information.
And how likely is the clinic to give this information?
That's where it gets really tricky. The clinic is saying that there are patient confidentiality laws, and so they're entangled in all of this web because can they just go and start pulling genetic samples to figure out, hey, does this embryo belong to this child? So this is kind of one of those situations that's going to be very complex and very difficult and probably be some long-standing litigation, Isiah.
Now to this, Asian countries are now on high alert after cases of the deadly Nipah virus where they were detected in India. Now, the virus, which can spread from animals like fruit bats and pigs to humans, can cause symptoms ranging from fever to severe brain infection and, get this, even death. Right now, no cure out there. 5 cases confirmed so far. We have the doc on standby.
Dr. Danish Ali is here on The Factor Uncensored. What can you tell us about Nipah?
This is a virus that has been currently spreading in South Asia. There have been 2 confirmed cases. It is a respiratory illness or respiratory virus similar to the flu, but it is very serious and often fatal with a very high death mortality rate. However, we are not seeing this cases or any cases here, but if you do plan on traveling to Asia or any of the South Asian countries, you may be screened, and so just be on the lookout. And if you have any respiratory illnesses, you may be asked some questions and you may be quarantined or even tested as well.
Now let's slow it down a bit with actress Kyrie McAlpin. She appeared here on The Factor years ago as a model in a fashion show segment. Now her star is on the rise in Hollywood and we're very proud. She'll be showing off her acting chops on a brand new show, The Burbs, premiering February 8th on Peacock. I chatted with the young actress about the details. We have a very special guest joining us tonight, Emmy-nominated actress and Houston's own Kyrie McAlpin, and she will soon be starring in a new television series on Peacock called The Burbs, and it begins February 8th. Welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
Now, I hear there's a video floating out there of you on The Factor as a young model in a fashion show. Do you remember that?
Not as much. Little itty bitty parts.
Hopefully we can find that video and show it when we're talking about it. But you have come such a long way. We're so proud of you here in the city of Houston. And your latest show is The Burbs on Peacock, and that's with Keke Palmer. What is that like for you?
It is such an awesome experience. It's something that I have been working towards. And it's a milestone for me to be in such a big show and be in a lot of the episodes with the Keke Palmer. She was one of the actresses that I've looked up to since I was 5 years old. So I'm still in awe right now. I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to digest it and self-criticize myself on it.
And when you take a look at some of the people from Gabrielle Union to Keke Palmer and many in between, has there been an actor or actress that has given you some wonderful advice and tips that you could use in the industry?
Well, one advice that I really keep with me is eye line. Keep your eye line, because sometimes when I act, I go off and veer off when there's more heavy emotions. But to keep my eye line so that the emotion stays and that the audience connects.
And you've been doing this for quite some time. What motivated you to pursue a career in acting?
It was really fun. I love doing things that I have fun doing, and what motivated me is I want to be a big celebrity. I want to be able to be in a position where I can help people. I want to start my own charity where I can help get homeless off the street, because that's something that I really love doing. And I love to see people doing good, and I love to see other people successful. So I think that's also motivating me, and taking care of my family. I love taking care of my family, so it just pushes me to keep going.
So once again, the new show, The Burbs,
Yes.
February 8th on Peacock. What can we expect?
You can expect mystery, you can expect thriller, you can expect yourself to be pulled in and wondering what's going to happen next, and you're like, ooh, I hope she don't drop that baby.
And don't forget, the Harlem Globetrotters are heading to H-Town. When we come back, details on when and where you can catch the iconic show.
This program is being brought to you by Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. I can't do that twirl. The world-famous Harlem Globetrotters are known for their elite skills, iconic showmanship, and a 100-year legacy, breaking barriers around the world. Now, they're celebrating that legacy with their 100-year tour, and you can find them in Houston this coming Saturday. Joining us is a true Globetrotters legend in his 49th season with the organization, a former fan favorite, still a fan favorite, showman, now coaching and mentoring the next generation Globetrotters coach and icon, Sweet Lou Dunbar. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir.
It's indeed my pleasure.
Absolutely. So you have had almost 50 years. What has that been like?
It's been a half a century almost, man. Well, first of all, I had the opportunity to play with some of my childhood heroes, Metal Lock Lemon, Curly Neal, Geese, and Marcus Hayne, and it's been tremendous, man. So when I got here with the Globetrotters, they were the old men. Now I'm the old man. So I'm trying to teach these youngsters what they taught me about the Globetrotter tradition.
Number 41, huh?
41. Number 41.
And of course, when I used to think and see you kids, see you playing as a kid, it felt like magic. Like you guys were magicians on the court.
It's a lot of hard work out there, trust me. I remember when I first joined the Globetrotters, Metal Lock used to tell me, he said, listen, you're going to go do that first dunk, and then I would sit down. He would sit me down, and I became a spectator to see how the thing went. And so they would tell me, take a ball to your room until you break a few lamps, you're not doing anything. And that's exactly what I did.
So it's just practicing, practicing, practicing. It looks flawless to us sitting in the seat.
Yeah, because we do it every day. You know, nobody travels or plays like the Harlem Globetrotters. You know, we played 365 days. As my coach used to say, we play 7 days a week, 8 days on special holidays. So,
there you go.
We're putting it in,
and
putting the work in.
To the poor Washington Generals?
Well, you know, they're still trying. They're still trying. But you got to remember, Isiah, nobody wants to see the Globetrotters lose. That's like shooting Santa Claus.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to see that.
There'd be a riot.
That's right.
There'd be a riot. Right. For those who are coming out to the show, what can they expect Saturday?
Listen, we got some young athletes that are doing a great job. And we also have female players. Torch will be here, and they're putting on a great show. And we're just celebrating this 100 year. And also, with what we're going to do, we're going to celebrate some of the players that live here in Houston. We're going to give them a coin that has 100 years on it, and
really?
Curly Neal on the back spinning the basketball. So we're celebrating the older guys that played as well.
And of course, your roots are right here in Houston. Originally from Minden, Louisiana, but
yes, sir.
You went to the University of Houston. So
go
you're at home.
Yes,
there
sir.
You go.
Go Cougs.
There you go. And for those who may have, you know, some hesitation about coming out, total family fun, right?
That's why we've been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
When you come see the Harlem Globetrotters, you get good, wholesome family entertainment and some great basketball as well. So we're going to do something for everybody. So come out and bring your family and kids. You know, it's going to be a good time. It's a party. There'll be a party at the Toyota Center twice in a day. One at 1 o'clock and the next one is at 6 p.m.
And for you, what keeps you a legend going and keep coming back?
Well, you got to, you know, I've always said, once this become a real job, I got to go. So it hasn't become a real
so
job.
You're still having
I
fun.
love exactly what I do every day.
Absolutely. So you got any moves for us? You ready, Lou?
Let me see what you got out there.
Ready?
That's good. That's good. That's good. Move a little slow, baby. We gotta roll that thing around.
There we go.
I used to be able to spin this thing out there, but you know, at this old age, getting a little tough, baby. Getting a little tough. Getting a little tough.
Sweet Lou, it's a definite pleasure.
Hey, man, I appreciate
you.
Thanks for having me. You guys come out and see the Globetrotters on Saturday.
All right, sir. Thank you for joining us here on The Factor and stopping by. And don't forget, the Harlem Globetrotters want to see you this Saturday at the game, so they are giving you 20% off with the promo code. Get this, write it down, GOLD26, GOLD26, and we'll be back with more Factor Uncensored. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to The Factor. Uncensored. You have to ask yourself, what in the hell is the world coming to? Somewhere there are 300,000 people who are following these co-joined twins, Valeria and Camila. But the gag is they're AI generated and people still love them to death. They can be found on Instagram and TikTok. Here's a look at them in action.
It's easy to get noticed when you look like this, but confidence is what really catches our eye.
Exactly. If you're just staring, you're trying too hard.
See? So y'all can spend hours watching that, but not one lousy damn minute subscribing to our new YouTube channel, right? So if you're feeling guilty, which we hope you are, let's show you the QR code where you can follow us. And this, a two-headed Isiah. Look at that. They even added cornrows to my hair on AI. Now you have a blessed day. And there you go. You got a two-headed Isiah. Isn't that just as good as the co-joined twins, right, guys? Isn't that just as good? There you go. Only one of a kind. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and follow me on that new YouTube channel. I'll have two heads there. But I'll be here all week night. Good night, folks.